Hey, what's up guys, it's MugenLord here, and today we're going to talk about Square Enix. Yes, we're going to talk about them once again because they're back in the media and it has everybody talking. Square Enix is a popular topic here on this channel because we always talk about some of the moronic decisions that they make at times, and more specifically, Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy, which really has the fans at a divide here. But today we're going to talk about them right now when it comes to their finances, because it looks like that Square Enix is expected to lose 22 billion losses in yen, and they're planning on canceling some HD games, and they want to be more selective about what games that they're going to develop moving forward. So before we even dive into this video, make sure to subscribe button and notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. It's just always strings of bad news with Square Enix. It's always been, and despite how many people praise what goes on with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and praise Final Fantasy 16 and many other titles that they release, it still seems like that Square Enix still can't get their head out of the rut when it comes to their finances and their losses when it comes to these projects. So we're going to dive into this article real quick from Noisy Pixels, and it says Square Enix expects 22 billion yen loss following canceled HD games, plans to be more selective moving forward. So Square Enix has announced that that due to altered development approaches, it expects a loss of roughly 22.1 billion in content abandonment of the fiscal year ending in March 2024. Specifically, this expectation results from a revised approach to developing HD games with the intention of being more selective and focused in the allocation of development resources. I think this is what a lot of companies going through, especially when it comes to Insomniac. We seem to have a Naughty Dog and many other companies. It's about the allocations of resources too in these insane budgets. But this is a different case for Square Enix. I think this is more a self-inflicted wound that can, to me, in my personal opinion, that can probably be easily solved if they just change up a few things. But let's move forward. So it is unknown what project Square Enix has canceled in favor of this decision. Still, this process isn't entirely unexpected, as companies previously agreed significantly restructures its game development. And we also talked about in a previous video where you had a few executives talking about even that $70 games is unsustainable, that eventually game studios is going to figure out a way to cut costs while keeping the quality games up to snuff. And we have to wait and see. I really believe, and I truly believe, that we're going to at some point experience a reset within the gaming industry as a whole, because things has become inflated, things has become really bloated as far as costs are concerned. And a lot of even with the culture war stuff is just a small fraction of the problem that's going on with the industry. It's not the major part, and we have to tend to not focus always on the culture war aspect and focus on the actual problem of the game industry. Because even after we get rid of the woke or the culture war aspects, when it comes to the social political aspects of the gaming, we're still going to be stuck with a problem. We're still going to be stuck with it, but we're going to move on. So it says previously, President Kiryu stated that he wants Square Enix to work on more on their HD catalog, depending on the IP, upgraded to AA status. Consequently, speculatively, this could imply fewer releases per year, though at what the teams consider to be greater quality, specific IPs weren't named. We'll keep an update with the developments regarding Square Enix in the pipeline and their new strategy. So yes, this is something that's really, really important. Now, it's interesting to see that they want to take some AA titles and make them AAA. I think a perfect example of that, as we've seen so far, where I also talked about Visions of Mana. I think the Mana series can go from AA and actually become a AAA title that can stand amongst titles like Final Fantasy and also Dragon Quest. But look at how they got there with the Mana series, where they did a lot of test runs. They put out the Mana collection first to see if the fans what they think about it, and then they remade Trials of Mana, which is a Mana game that never came to the States back in the 90s, and they decided to remake it, and it done really, really well with the budget that it had. And now we have a full-on project, which is Visions of Mana. So I can see that as a perfect example of them taking other IPs and actually turn them to much bigger IPs. But it also boils down to the quality of the game. Fans want great games. That's all they want. Great games, fun games that they can be able to play. They don't really care about how expensive the technology is and how beautiful and realistic the graphics are. Sometimes simple is much more effective than going all out, especially with these crazy budgets. But Square Enix definitely have to fix these issues that they have, and to me, I think it's a simple issue that they can actually fix. One, I think the biggest problem too is stop making these damn titles fucking exclusive to PlayStation or whatever platform they want to make these damn games exclusive to. It's hurting their bottom line. We already starting to see the results of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and its expectations as far as sales, and we also believe that Final Fantasy 16 could have done even a lot better if it was able to be available on other platforms, especially on the PC. If it had that as a day-and-date release, they got to stop locking these games behind exclusive paywalls. I think that when it comes to third party, and I'm going to say it time and time again, I don't think third party developers or even publishers should be making any of their games exclusive, because you get situations like this. And it also gets to the point to where, since prices or the production is getting so expensive, developers are even as scared to abandon last generation because they need that big install base to recoup their money. This is why we still see cross generation. I think this is the longest cross generation has ever lasted. This is why we're not really seeing truly what PS5 and the Xbox Series X can truly do, is because we still seeing a lot of these games still going over to the Xbox One and also the PS4. It's because a lot of these developers, they also know that these budgets are outrageous, and they also know that these next generation consoles, not enough people have these consoles in their homes, so they need to recoup the cost by also putting it onto last generation platforms. And this is how you can tell that it's really bad. This is the state of gaming that we're in right now. So Square Enix just do away with exclusive and start putting fucking Final Fantasy mainline titles on other platforms like PC day and date and Xbox and Nintendo platforms. I think they will actually be able to turn this around and also get rid of their ethics department and fix a lot of that when it comes to the social political aspect and the culture war. Get rid of that as well, and I think they will have something and actually get younger blood in there. And we starting to realize that, man, the old heads, they're pretty much just lost. Right now, they're not they're like their former selves. They're not what they used to be, and instead, Square Enix is so caught up into chasing trends right now. All they do is chase trends and what's the hottest thing, and then they try to incorporate it with their existing titles, and which cause the fan base, who's always been supporters of the titles, feel like they're being abandoned. They feel like they're being isolated. Is because they're taking a game that's been known and have an identity for what it used to be, and now it's trying to pretty much imitate what other games are doing out there instead of just staying intact what they naturally were to begin with. So as long as they stop chasing trends, get younger blood in there, because the younger blood are actual fans of these companies that grew up in Japan playing a lot of Square Enix games. If you start getting a lot of these younger bloods in there to start working on these titles, then they would take that passion of their youth and how they used to play these games back in the day and actually implement those things, these elements into these games and these IPs that everybody know and love. So what are the HD games that they're planning on canceling? That we don't know. Many people are speculating or afraid that it may be the remake to Dragon Quest 3, which I doubt. Dragon Quest just makes too much money. It prints too much money for them to just up and do away with that. But we want to wait and see what projects that may have been canceled. We want to hear it sometime down the line. But that pretty much wraps up this video. Definitely hear your thoughts in the comment sections below. What do you think about Square Enix and the fact is that they have a major loss of 22.1 billion yen, and that they're going to be scrapping some HD projects moving forward and be more selective in what projects did they undergo? So definitely want to hear your thoughts. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game feeds later. Peace out.